We usually begin Maseches Tamid at approximately 10:05. It's right now about 9:55. There could be additional people that will join us for Tamid that don't usually join us for Yeshaya. So let's do a brief review for a few minutes of where we are in the Avodah of the Beis Hamikdash. We had lottery 1, and that had one winner. That winner would do the Trumas Hadeshin. He would take a shovel full of ash off the Mizbeach and put it on the eastern side of the ramp at the Beis Hadeshin. We had the second lottery. There are going to be 4 lotteries in the morning, and the lotteries only occur in the morning. To the extent that an avoda was done in the morning and would be repeated in the afternoon, the winner of the morning lottery would do the same thing in the afternoon. There was not a separate lottery, except according to the Rambam, with one exception, which we may see today. There was only one set of lotteries, 4 lotteries in the morning. The winner of the first lottery took a shovel of ash off the Mizbeach, put it on the eastern side of the ramp. There was no Trumas Hadeshin in the afternoon. This was done only before dawn every morning. But winner of lottery number 1 still had things to do in the afternoon, because in the afternoon there was a separate mitzvah of the Shnei Gezirei Eitzim. If you remember, there's a mitzvah that after the new logs are put on top of the Mizbeach and set up, the animal parts that were not consumed the day before were put now on the new logs. Fire, the winner of lottery 1 would light the fire, and then he would take 2 additional pieces of wood, Shnei Gezirei Eitzim. We learned that out of a pasuk in the Torah. He would take the Shnei Gezirei Eitzim and throw it on this fire. In the afternoon, before the afternoon carbon tamid would be brought, the Kohen who threw the 2 pieces of wood in the morning on the fire would come in the afternoon and throw 1 piece of wood on the fire, and a second Kohen who he invited to help him would throw the second piece of wood on the fire. So in the morning, winner 1 of lottery, the winner of the first lottery, he would throw both pieces of wood on top of the fire. In the afternoon, the winner of that lottery would only throw 1 piece of wood, and another Kohen would throw the second piece of wood. We learned that out in the morning. We learned that out from a pasuk in the Torah, that in the morning, 1 Kohen is to do the mitzvah of Shnei Gezirei Eitzim, and in the afternoon, 2 Kohanim are to do the mitzvah of Shnei Gezirei Eitzim. At any rate, there is no lottery in the afternoon to determine who's going to do the Trumas Hadeshin. Take that ash off the Mizbeach, the shovel full of ash. It was only done before dawn that day. We then go to the second lottery. The second lottery had 13 winners. Mishochet, who's going to shech the korban tamid shel shachar. Whoever won that is going to shech the korban tamid shel bein habayim. Mizorek, who's going to sprinkle the blood. The same Kohen that sprinkled the blood in the morning, he would sprinkle the blood in the afternoon. Mi medashen mizbeach hapnimi. Who's going to clean off the Mizbeach HaKtores? There's a question if it was done both times, morning and afternoon. If it was done both times, the same Kohen who cleaned it in the morning would clean it in the afternoon. Ketores was brought in the morning and then brought again in the afternoon. We're going to learn about Ketores today. We haven't brought the Ketores yet. We're not up to it. We're going to learn about it today. The 4th winner of the second lottery is Mi Medashin Es HaMenorah, who's going to clean out the menorah. The Kohen who won that lottery went in, cleaned out the 5 westernmost sticks, stopped, waited until the korban tamid shel shachar was slaughtered and the blood was sprinkled. And then, according to some, the order would be he'd then go back in and clean out the remaining 2 sticks. And that's it. The menorah is not going to be lit in the morning. The menorah is lit in the afternoon so that it remains lit the entire night. So even though the menorah is cleaned out by winner 4 of lottery 2 in the morning, it is not lit until the afternoon. So those are our 4 winners. So again, winner number 4 of lottery number 2, he only has a job in the morning. He's going to clean out the menorah, and he's not going to light it in the morning. The lighting of menorah will occur in the afternoon, and we'll learn about that as well. Winners 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 6 winners in the morning. They are going to take various parts of the animal, which we learned in the Mishnah. These 6 Kohanim, one took the head and a leg, one took the 2 sides, etc. There are 6 Kohanim that took the parts of the animal and they placed them on the lower half of the ram. Those 6 Kohanim would do the same thing in the afternoon. They would take the korban Tamid shel bein ha'arbayim and bring those parts to the ram. Then you have winners 11, 12, and 13 of lottery 2. Winner 11 brings flour mixed with oil to the ram for the flour offering. Winner 12 brings 6 of the 12 chalas, the chavitim of the Kohen Gadol, to the ram, and he will bring the remaining 6 chavitei Kohen Gadol to the ram in the afternoon. And winner 13 brings the wine to the ram that will be poured on the mizbeach, and he will bring the wine in the afternoon to the mizbeach. Those are the 2 lotteries that we know about so far. And today we're going to begin learning about lottery number 3. In V'hashev Esavoda, we are on page 17, Perek Hey, Mishnah Beis. It looks like a very short Mishnah, but the Mishnah is going to have quite a few inyanim in it. Okay. So Perek Hey Mishnah Beis. Amar Lahem, the supervisor of the lotteries, says to the Kohanim, there are still Kohanim. Remember, again, I emphasize this, the Mishmaros came every 24 weeks. And even in the Mishmar itself, it was broken into 6. So this week would be Mishmar Reuven, Tuesday Mishmar Reuven. Tomorrow would be Wednesday Mishmar Reuven. So the Kohanim for this week, who came every 24 weeks, they would be further broken down into 6 parts. On the 7th day Shabbos, they all joined together. But there was not that many opportunities to do avoda in the Beis Hamikdash for a Kohen. He came every 24 weeks, and only one day did his Beis Av have an opportunity. And how did you have an opportunity? If you won a lottery. Now, when we talk about the lottery, we're talking about the karbonos of the tzibur, the karbonos that were brought, the korban Tamid, the korban Musaf. These kind of karbonos had designated Kohanim. But when Jews came to the Beis Hamikdash with their korban Toda, their korban Shlomim, their korban Ola, their korban Chadas, Lafi Pshuto, simplicity, there was no pious. They didn't do lotteries for who's going to bring private karbonos. That was done by the Beis Av. So if today hundreds of Jews arrived in the Beis Hamikdash to bring their private korbanos, the whole Beis Av would be busy. Certain Kohanim who won the lottery would be busy with the public offerings, such as the Korban Tamid of the morning, the Korban Tamid of the afternoon, cleaning the menorah, lighting the menorah, cleaning the Mizbeach HaTorah, bringing the Ketores. And then the ones who didn't win the lottery would be busy with bringing all the private korbanos. But that did not necessarily happen every day. There could be days where the Beis Hamikdash was not very active. And basically what was happening in the Beis Hamikdash were the public offerings. So if you won the lottery, you had avoda to do. If you didn't win the lottery, you had no avoda to do that day. And in fact, the next Mishnah, which we're not going to learn today, but the next Mishnah, Mishnah Gimel, talks about what happens after the 4 lotteries are done. And you have a whole bunch of Kohanim who didn't win any of the lotteries. What do they now do for the rest of the day? So the Mishnah Gimel starts talking about the Kohanim who didn't win any of the 4 lotteries. So we're right now up to lottery number 3. We did lottery number 1, one winner to do the Trumas Hadesh and to shovel off a bit of ash, put it on the eastern side of the ram. Lottery number 2, 13 winners that deal with bringing the korban, cleaning the Mizbeach HaTorah, and cleaning the menorah. And now we don't know who is going to bring the Ketores. Winner number 4 of lottery 2 has cleaned the Mizbeach HaTorah, and it's ready for Ketores. How do we know who's going to bring the Ketores? Beis. Amalahem, the supervisor of the lottery, announces Chadoshim Laketores Ba'u Vafisu. New people who have never in their life offered Ketores, you may come and join the lottery. You can come and join the circle, put out your fingers, and we'll pick a winner. If a person has ever done the avoda of the Ketores, he may not join that day's lottery. It is only Kohanim who never had the schus, who never had the privilege to bring Ketores on the Mizbeach HaTorah, they are invited to join this lottery. The reason for that was the bringing of Ketores. They wanted to make sure that every Kohen, as much as possible, had at least one opportunity in his lifetime to bring Ketores. So if you've won at any point in your lifetime bringing Ketores, today is not the day you're going to join in the lottery. You've done it once before. Now remember, they only come every 24 weeks. So it could be he did it 24 weeks ago. It could be he did it 5 years ago. It could be he did it 20 years ago. If you've done the Ketores once in your lifetime, you cannot participate in the lottery. And that's why the supervisor said, Chadoshim Laketores, new people who have never done Ketores, Bo'u Vahafisu, come and join the lottery. Now, why did they want to make sure that every Kohen would have an opportunity to do the Ketores at least once in his lifetime? So the Gemara tells us there's a pasuk in the Zos HaBracha where Moshe Rabbeinu was blessing all the Shiratim. It says, that Kohanim who bring the Ketores, Yasimu Ketorah Ba'apecha, V'cholil al Mizbechecha, they will put Ketores on your Mizbeach. And then the pasuk says, Borech Hashem Chelo, God will bless your wealth. Chelo can mean different things, but in this context it means the Kohanim will put Ketores on your Mizbeach, and you will bless their wealth. So Ketores was an avoda that brought blessing to the person, wealth to the person who brought the Ketores. So if you brought the Ketores once, stay out of the lottery today. Let everybody get a chance for this blessing of wealth. A very interesting halacha comes from here. It's brought down in the Ramah, in Yeridea, in Hilchis Bris Milah. It's a halacha about a sandik. Everybody hears about the minig that you shouldn't be a sandik twice for the same person. In other words, there are exceptions, people make exceptions. If your daughter has a son, or your son has a son, and they want to be machabed you as the zayda to be the sandik, so you graciously accept and you're the sandik. What happens if that same daughter and that same son have another boy, mazel tov? Now you have two grandsons. Your son or your daughter should not ask you to be the sandik for the second child. Once you've been sandik once, you shouldn't be sandik for that particular family a second time. A person is not supposed to be the sandik twice by two grandsons born from the same couple, from the same of his children. That's what the Ramah says. Where does Ramah get this from? So he says because the Medrash talks about a sandik. The sandik has the baby on his lap. The sandik's lap becomes like a mizbeach. The sandik's lap, it's a holy thing. The sandik, the kibbut of a sandik, the sandik's lap becomes like a mizbeach. The baby is now on the mizbeach, and the moil is like a kohen. He's going to actually draw blood from the baby. But what kind of mizbeach is it? It's like the mizbeach haketoris. Why? We'll leave it for a different discussion. The lap of the sandik is like the mizbeach haketoris. And therefore, the Ramah says, the same way by bringing ketoris, you are only supposed to do it once in a lifetime. So too, because it brings wealth, and therefore we want to, quote unquote, spread the wealth, let other Kohanim have an opportunity. Same thing is true by the lap of a sandik, which is like the Mizbeach HaTorah and brings wealth. Once you were the sandik by one of your grandchildren, you should not be the sandik a second time for the same family. Let someone else have the opportunity to be the Mizbeach HaTorah and gain the wealth. That's the Ramah, and that's where the minute comes from, that grandfather should not be the sandik twice by two grandsons that come from the same family. Ramah says, a person should not give one person the honor to be a sandik by two of his sons. And then he talks about learning it from this Mishnah. Only new people should do it because ketoris brings wealth and we give everybody an opportunity, and a sandik's lap is like the Mizbeach HaKetoris. On that, there's an interesting Gra. The Gra comments and says, I don't know why the Ramah feels that you can't be a sandik twice for the same family because you want to spread the wealth. The Vilna Gaon writes, I've never seen anyone that was a sandik that suddenly became wealthy. I don't know. I don't see it happening. So therefore, what is the Ramah worried about? He's learning from this Mishnah that a kohen should not do the ketoros twice because we want to spread the blessing of wealth. And therefore, he analogizes that to a sandik. The Vilna Gaon says, I see sandik, I see many people who are sandiks, I don't see them getting the blessing of wealth, so I don't think you need to be concerned about it. To which the Chassam Sofer answered in a tshuva, Orach Chaim Simin Kuf Nen Ches. The Chassam Sofer is a very interesting answer to the Gra. He says that a sandik, every sandik, should be zoicha to wealth. Like the Ramah says, because his lap is a Mizbeach HaKetoros, and therefore he should only do it once. But the Vilna Gaon says he doesn't see people getting wealthy from being a sandik. The Chassam Sofer says, I'll tell you why. Because in that time, about the 1820s, 1830s, 1840s, it's not like the old generations of great tzaddikim. Today people have all kinds of aveiros. It's not like the old times. And therefore, the sandik really got the blessing of wealth. And the Ribono Shel Olam is going to take away the wealth that the sandik would have had as a punishment for his Averis, and therefore the Sandik won't have to get some other kind of punishment because God just took away the wealth he should have gotten for the Ketayris. So the fact that the Gra says, I don't see people becoming wealthy from being a Sandik, the Chassam Sofer says, yes, that's possible. It doesn't mean they didn't get rewarded. The Ribono Shel Olam was about to give them wealth and took away that wealth as a kapara for sins, and now they don't have to suffer some other way. So yes, they were rewarded for being the Sandik. Okay. At any rate, then the Satmar Rebbe, Zechron Tzaddik Levracha, says that the Chadoshim L'Tayres doesn't necessarily, it doesn't have to be financial wealth. It could be other ways that the Ribono Shel Olam rewards a person. At any rate, this became a minik in Klal Yisrael that a person should not be the Sandik twice for the same family, whether it's a grandchild, friends' children, Rebbes, etc. They make exception. A Rebbe, a Sandik by a Chassid for all his 10 sons, whatever it is. They made different exceptions, but that's the Ramah, and the minig not to be a Sandik twice for the same family comes from this mission. Yeah. The rule that you can't join the lottery to do the Ketores, we're talking about lottery 3 of the 4 lotteries. This rule that if you once did the Ketores, you cannot join the lottery, is only until everyone in the base Av had the opportunity. So for example, this week is Reuven week, and today is Tuesday, a base Av of Reuven. A Tuesday base Av of Reuven, let's make believe, has 108 Kohanim. And these 108 Kohanim come back every 24 weeks. And every 24 weeks, they do lottery number 3 on Tuesday. They do it every week. They do it every day. We're talking now about Mishma Reuven Tuesday. Every 24 weeks, Mishma Reuven Tuesday pops up, and they do lottery 3. Or Kohen wins. Okay, now we have 107 Kohanim for the following time, which will be 24 weeks later. Another Kohen wins. And now we have 106 Kohanim for 24 weeks later, and so on and so on and so on and so on. At some point, if it occurs that all 108 members of Tuesday Reuven had the schus and they brought Ketores, then we start again. Because everybody now had the opportunity, and all 108 can be members of the lottery. Now, of course, we're going to get to a point, if this keeps on going, first time around, where there may only be one Kohen left. There may be no lottery. Of the 108, every 24 weeks somebody won, and we have 107 past winners. We only have one person left, and he's going to get the Ketores. 24 weeks later, we're going to start again with 108 people. So this prohibition to join the lottery, if you've ever had the Ketores, is only until everyone in your base Av brought Ketores. Once everybody brought Ketores, the rotation begins again. How often did that happen? Probably not often, because remember, if there are 108 Kohanim, they come every 24 weeks, which means they came about twice a year. If they came twice a year, there's only one person that does the Ketores Tuesday for the base Av. So that means for the Mishma Reuven Tuesday, the Tuesday base Av, the winner of lottery 3 for Ketores, there'd be two winners a year. Again, it's Tuesday's base Av of Mishma Reuven. Mishma Reuven comes to the Beis HaMikdash every 24 weeks. So they only get there every 24 weeks. That's twice a year. The Tuesday base Av of Reuven only gets the opportunity to do Ketores twice a year. So there'll be 2 winners in the year for the Tuesday base Av of Mishma Reuven. And there are 108 Kohanim. So theoretically, it would take 54 years before everybody would have had the opportunity to bring Ketores. So there are new Kohanim that come in, they're young, they become of age to join the pious, some Kohanim pass away, etc. So the possibility that suddenly everybody had the Ketores, and let's start again, was something that was unusual. In fact, the Gemara in Yuma says that Le'olam lo shana adam ba. No one ever, there was no Kohen that ever did the Ketores twice. It just didn't work out that way. Once you did it once, it was done, and the way the rotation every 24 weeks and the base Av system worked once a day, it never worked out that one Kohen would be able to do the Ketores twice. Now we mentioned that Ketores is brought in the morning and in the afternoon. So we need to discuss now two things. One, in order to bring the Ketores in the Mizbeach, right, our diagram number 3, the Ketores is going to be brought in the Mizbeach that's inside the Heichel. Okay, where's my famous diagram number 3? Oh, there we go. Diagram number 3, the Mizbeach HaKetores is inside the Heichel. You can't burn anything on this Mizbeach until you bring fire there. That fire came from the Marocha Shel Ketores on the outside Mizbeach, one of the 3 sets of logs on the Mizbeach. This was a set of logs on the western side of the Mizbeach, southwest. A set of logs just to create coals, to bring the coals inside the Heichel, to put on the Mizbeach, and on the coals you would put the Ketores. So right now, we're dealing with the winner of Lottery 3 is going to bring the Ketores into the Heichel. But who's going to bring the coals into the Heichel before he puts the Ketores on it? We'll deal with that in a moment. That's a separate Kohen. He is the Mevi Hamachta. He brings the fire pan in. How do we choose who that Kohen will be? We'll talk about in a moment. The second question is the winner of Lottery 3, who brings the Ketores in the morning, is he also going to bring the Ketores in the afternoon? Now, the way we learned till now, absolutely. There's only one set of lotteries, 4 lotteries in the morning. Whoever won an avoda in the morning, to the extent that that avoda was done in the afternoon, he did in the afternoon as well. So the Kohen who shechted the korban tamid shel shachi, he shechted the korban tamid shel bein abayim. The Kohen who sprinkled the blood of the korban tamid shel shachi, sprinkled the korban tamid shel bein abayim. And by logical conclusion, the Kohen who won Lottery 3 to bring the Ketores into the Heichel in the morning, he would be the Kohen who would bring the Ketores into the Heichel in the afternoon. And that's the shita of most Mefarshim. The Rambam has a unique shita. The Rambam says that in fact there were times under certain circumstances where they would do one lottery in the afternoon. This is not known to other shitas. The other shitas hold there's 4 lotteries in the morning. That's it. To the extent that something has to be done in the afternoon to the korban tamid, the same Kohen that did in the morning does in the afternoon. So whoever brought the Ketores in the morning, he's going to bring the Ketores in the afternoon. The Rambam says this is an exception for his own reasons. The person who brought the Ketores in the morning may be the one that will bring the Ketores in the afternoon, but under certain conditions, it may be necessary to do a new lottery, the only one that you would do in the afternoon, to designate a Kohen to bring the Ketores in the afternoon. Having mentioned the Shitas HaRambam, we're going to continue with the simple Shitas. There are only 4 lotteries in the morning. Whoever's going to bring the Ketores in the morning is going to bring the Ketores in the afternoon. Back to the Mishnah. Hefisu, the lottery was done. Zacha Misha Zacha. Whoever won the lottery, he is the one that's going to bring the Ketores. How does he bring the Ketores? We need someone that's going to bring coals into the Heichel to put on the Mizbeach HaKetores. We'll deal with that in a moment. Amalahem, then the Mamuna said to them, now before he said to them, I need to say the following. Lottery number one, the way we learned, occurred in the base Hamoke because that's where the Kohanim were sleeping. That's where they woke up. And as soon as they were dressed and ready, toiveled, and wanted to do the Trumas Hadeshin, right there in the base Hamoke, they did the first lottery, except according to the Rambam we mentioned, it was done in Lishkas Hagos. But again, with the Rambam aside, the first lottery for the Trumas Hadeshin is done in the base Hamoke, northern side of the Azor. Lotteries 2, 3, and 4. Lottery 2, the 13 winners that deal with the carbon, cleaning the Mizbeach and cleaning the menorah, done in the Lishkas Hagazis. Lottery number 3 for the Ketores that we just did in the Lishkas Hagazis. Lottery number 4, which we're going to learn about now, is also done in the Lishkas Hagazis. We'll get to lottery number 4. After lottery number 3 was done, and a winner of the Ketores was found, the Kohanim left the Lishkas Hagazis. A couple of minutes later, they came right back into the Lishkas Hagazis. And they did the 4th lottery. Why didn't they just do lottery 3 and lottery 4 back to back? Why did they have to leave the Lishkas Hagazis and then walk back into the Lishkas Hagazis for lottery 4? That's because of Beveis Elokim Nahalach Barogesh. We mentioned this concept before. The Gemara talks about it in Yuma. It's the Rabboni Shalom's home. It's a place of Avodas Hashem. It's his palace. We want to make sure that the Beis Hamikdash looks like it's a busy place. Jews are busy doing the Avodah. We don't want the Beis Hamikdash to look like it's empty or there's nothing going on. It's a boring place. Nothing's happening. So we create a Rogesh. We create people are constantly walking back and forth, and they're busy. So after lottery number 3, we have a winner of Ketores. The Kohanim leave the Lishkas Hagazis. They go into the Azorah. A couple of minutes later, they go back into the Lishkas Hagazis. So there's a walking back and forth, and the home, the palace looks, and it is busy. So now the Kohanim came back into Lishkas Hagazis, Amalahem, and the supervisor of the lottery said to them, Chadoshim im Yeshanim, those who are new to this lottery, and even those who have previously won this lottery, you can join in. In other words, he's now opening up the lottery. Whereas lottery number 3, he said Chadoshim, Bo'u Vafisu, only new Kohanim who have never done the Ketores may join. That's why he said Chadoshim. At lottery number 4, he says Chadoshim Gam Yeshanim. Whether you've done it before or have never done the following before, you may join this lottery. It is only lottery 3 for Ketores that requires only Kohanim who have never done the Ketores before. All the other lotteries, a Kohen can win multiple times and keep on trying again. So now the 4th lottery, he says, Chadoshim and Yeshanim. If you've never done it, if you have done it, you can now join. Bo'u Vafisu, come and join the lottery. What is the 4th lottery? Mi mala evorim min hakevesh lamizbeach. Which Kohen, and I'm putting the word Kohen in quotes now, individual, which Kohen is going to take all the 9 items that were left on the ram and bring them up to be offered on the Mizbeach. If you remember, in lottery number 2, we had 13 winners. The first one shechted, the second one sprinkled the blood, the third one cleaned the Mizbeach Ketores, the 4th one cleaned the menorah. The next 9 brought animal parts, flour, the minchas chavitim, the 6 breads of the Kohen, the wine. They brought them to the Mizbeach and put them on the lower half of the Mizbeach. Stop. And then they went to daven in the Lishkas Hagazis that we learned about yesterday. Who is now going to bring those 9 items, these 9 separate items, that 9 Kohanim, 9 separate Kohanim, winners of lottery 2, brought these items to the ram. Who's now going to bring it to the top of the Mizbeach to have them consumed on the Mizbeach? The Pashup Shot is 1 Kohen. And that's lottery 4. Mi mala evorim min hakevesh lamizbeach. Who is going to bring the items on the kevesh up to the mizbeach? So lottery 4 has only 1 winner. one Kohen, even though it took 6 Kohanim, actually 9, it took 9 Kohanim to bring all the items to the bottom of the ramp. It's going to be one Kohen who's going to actually bring these items and bring them to the top of the Mizbeach to be consumed there. That's Rashi Shita. Lottery number 4 has only one winner. Although it took 9 Kohanim to bring the things to the Mizbeach, lottery 4 is going to be one winner to bring all those things to the top of the Mizbeach. That's Rashi Shita. Why does this Tana hold? There'll be a second opinion in a moment in the Mishnah. Why does this Tana hold that you need another Kohen to bring the 9 items to the Mizbeach for consumption? Why didn't they just call back the same 6 who brought it to the ramp and say, now that you davened in the Lishkas HaGozes, everybody take that which you brought to the ramp, and now bring it up to the Mizbeach one by one? Why do we look for a new Kohen? Why don't we just go back to the same 6? This opinion holds the same kind of idea, B'veis Elokim Nahalach B'Ragesh, although with a different concept. B'rov Am Had V'Smelach. It is a covet, it is a glory, a glorification of a king when many people serve him. That's one of the reasons, for example, we tried to daven with large minyanim. Large minyanim, there's a roiv am. We want, even though you can hear Mikra Megillah and Purim with a minyan, we go to a shul because we want to have rov am. There's a concept of rov am hadusmelech. A great amount of people is a greater glorification for the king. For example, lahavdol, again, Mea Havdolis, a parade for a king that has 10 people on the street is a great disgrace. When there are tens, hundreds of thousands of people lining the street, it's a great glorification to the king. So we have this concept of Rov Am Had V'Smelech, and we want to do the same thing in the Beis HaMikdash. So we had 6 Kohanim who brought these, 9 Kohanim who brought these different items to the ramp, and then they went to daven, and now Rov Am Had V'Smelech, let's get someone else involved to do the next part of the avoda. The more people that are involved in doing the avoda, the greater glorification it is to Hashem. Instead of bringing back the same 6 people, let's get someone else involved. Rov Am Had V'Smelech. That is the shita of this Tana. We bring the 4th lottery is for one new Kohen to bring the 9 items up to the ramp. As a result, we have a little question. Mrs. Davis asks, why not 6 others? The Ritva disagrees with Rashi, and the Ritva says that if that's the logic of this sheet in the Mishnah, that we want to get more people involved, how can Rashi explain that logically? I had 6 people involved in doing the avoda. They brought it, 9 people involved in bringing the materials to the ramp. And now, to make it look like more people involved, I'm only getting 1 person involved. Why not just leave it to the old 6 people? And that's a rov am. More people are doing the service. By bringing 1 more person here, it looks like you're having less people involved. Therefore, the Ritva says, unlike Rashi, that lottery number 4 doesn't have 1 winner. Lottery number 4 has 6 winners, 6 or 9 winners. 9 new Kohanim will bring the 9 items up to the top of the Mizbeach. So Rashi says that 9 Kohanim were winners in lottery 2. Lottery 4, 1 Kohen took all 9 items to the top of the Mizbeach to show that we're bringing new Kohanim into the process. The Ritva asks, if you want to show you're bringing new Kohanim into the process and you want to show a glorification to God, it doesn't make sense to tell 6 people not to come and tell just 1 person to come. And therefore the Ritva says lottery 4, in fact, is for 6 new Kohanim to come and 9 new Kohanim to come and to bring the 9 items to the top of the Mizbeach. Those are the two shittas in the Tanakama. Tanakama meaning the shitta that holds that the fourth lottery is mi mala evorim min hakevesh lemizbeach. Who is going to bring the 9 items up to the mizbeach? This is the shitta of the Tanakama. Let's stop. The sheet of the Tanakama is that there are 4 lotteries, and everyone's going to hold that there are 4 lotteries. Tanakama says the first lottery is for Trumas Hadeshin. The Kohen before dawn, 1 winner. Lottery 1, 1 winner. He's going to take ash from the top of the Mizbeach, put it on the east side of the ring. Winner number 2. Lottery number 2, 13 winners. Lottery number 3 for Ketoris, 1 winner. Lottery number 4 is for who's going to bring the 9 items back up the ram for consumption. Rashi says 1 Kohen was the winner. The Ritva says 6 Kohanim were the winner. That's the first sheet in the Mishnah. 4 lotteries, 1 Trumas Hadeshin, 2 the 13 Kohanim, 3 the 1 Kohen for Ketores, 4 who's going to bring up the 9 items to the Mizbeach. Rashi says 1 Kohen, Ritva says a whole separate group of Kohanim. Shita 1 in the Mishnah. Next, Rebbe Eliezer ben Yaakov Omer. Rebbe Eliezer ben Yaakov disagrees. He says, Hamala Evorim Lakevish. Those Kohanim, the 9 Kohanim who brought the different items to the ram, and then they went to the Lishkas Hagazas and said Kriya Shema and daven, the abridged davening we learned about yesterday. Those Kohanim are the same ones that leave the Lishkas Hagazas after they daven, and they're the ones that bring it to the top of the Mizbeach. I don't need another lottery to determine who is going to bring the items to the top of the Mizbeach. I have my 6 or 9 Kohanim that won lottery 2. They're going to just finish the job. Rebbe Eliezer ben Yaakov holds that it's disrespectful to do another lottery to select new Kohanim to bring the items up to the Kevish. It looks like the first 9 Kohanim who brought the items to the Kevish, they got bored, or they got tired, or they're not interested in finishing the job by taking the items to the top of the Mizbeach. Therefore, they went off to do something else. That's what it would appear to be. You started the job, you brought these items to the ram, you paused to go daven, and now after davening, you went off somewhere else, and some other 9 Kohanim had to finish the job. It's a disrespect according to Rebbe Eliezer ben Yaakov. Therefore, Rebbe Eliezer ben Yaakov holds that the same Kohanim who brought the items to the Mizbeach, they are the same Kohanim who are going to bring it to the top of the Mizbeach for consumption. But we have a problem with Rebbe Eliezer ben Yaakov. He only has 3 lotteries, and you have to have 4. There's a Kabbalah, there are 4 lotteries in the Beis HaMikdash. So our Tanakama had the first one, Trumas Hadeshin, the second one, 13 Kohanim, the third one, Ketoris, the fourth one, who's going to bring the things to the top of the Mizbeach. Rebbe Eliezer ben Yaakov doesn't hold that there was a 4th lottery for who brings it to the top of the Mizbeach. He holds it's the same Kohanim. Where's the 4th lottery? So this is the point that I mentioned that we come back to. Rebbe Eliezer ben Yaakov indeed holds that there was a 4th lottery, and the 4th lottery was for a Kohen who would bring the coals off of the Mizbeach Hachitzon and bring it into the Heichel to the Mizbeach HaKtores, upon which winner number 3 would put the Ketores. So Rebbe Eliezer ben Yaakov holds that there was a 4th lottery, but that winner was the winner who would bring the coals from the outer Mizbeach to the Mizbeach HaKtores for purposes of winner number 3 putting the Ketores on top of it. Now let's go back to the first sheet. The Tanakama holds that there are 4 lotteries, and the 4th one is to bring the different parts up to the Mizbeach. How did he determine who would bring the coals into the Heichel to burn the Ketores? He doesn't have a lottery for that Kohen. The Tanakama holds that there was no lottery for the person who would bring the coals in, that it was usually done by winner number 3 who would bring the Ketores. The Kohen that was to his right would automatically become the Kohen who would bring the ketores, the coals into the Heichel. Or another sheet is that winner of the third lottery of ketores, he would invite one of his friends that day and say, why don't you bring the coals in and I will burn the ketores on top of the coals. Bottom line, there are only 4 lotteries in the Beis Hamikdash every morning, no matter what you hold. There's 4 lotteries for us right now. These lotteries were only done in the morning. Whoever won a certain job in the morning for the Korban Tamid Shel Shachar won it for the Korban Tamid Shel Bein HaBayim. With the exception, we mentioned the Rambam may have a lottery in the afternoon for Ketores. We're going to put that aside. Lotteries 4 and only in the morning. Winners in the morning, they're the same thing in the afternoon. Next, what are the 4 lotteries? Tanakama, winner, lottery 1 winner, Trumas Hadeshin. Lottery 2, 13 winners, Mishochet, Mizoreg, the shechting, the splashing of the blood. Who's going to clean the inner mizbeach? Who's going to clean the menorah? And then 9 kohanim who are going to bring different things to the ramp. Lottery 3, only new people who can join the lottery for who will bring the ketores. Lottery 4, Tanakama, who will now bring the different items on the ramp to the top of the mizbeach. Rashi, only 1 person won that lottery. Ritva, 6 additional people won that lottery. That's the Tanakama. Rebbe Eliezer ben Yaakov, same first 3 lotteries, but he says there's no 4th lottery for who's going to bring the animal parts up to the mizbeach. Because the same 6 will bring it to the top of the mizbeach, otherwise it looks disrespectful. So what's the 4th lottery? 4th lottery is which Kohen is going to have the privilege of bringing the fire pan with coals from the outer mizbeach to the inner mizbeach, upon which the winner of lottery 3 will put the ketores. Now, according to the Tanakama, the first Shita, there is no lottery for the person who's going to bring the coals in. It was either done at lottery 3, whoever was standing next to the winner of lottery 3, or lottery 3 would invite one of his friends and say, why don't you today bring the coals into the Heichel? I won lottery 3 and I will put the incense, the ketores, on top of those coals. So that is the Mishnah with the 2 different shitas. 4 lotteries, only in the morning. You won in the morning, you did in the afternoon, to the extent that it had to be done in the afternoon. So for example, whoever cleaned the menorah in the morning didn't clean it again in the afternoon because it was only lit in the afternoon. But to the extent somebody won a lottery in the morning and that same thing has to be done in the afternoon, the same Kohen did it. Lottery 1, Trumas Hadeshin. Lottery 2, 13 Kohanim. Lottery 4, lottery 3, ketores once. If you won, not again. Lottery 4, who is going to bring the items to the top of the mizbeach? Rashi, 1 Kohen, Ritva, 6 Kohanim. Stop. Rebbe Eliezer ben Yaakov agrees with the first 3 lotteries. He holds the 4th lottery was not necessary because the same 9 Kohanim who brought the items to the ram, they would bring them to the top of the mizbeach. No need for a lottery for that. His 4th lottery is which Kohen will have the privilege to bring the fire pan into the Heichel to put the coals on the mizbeach haktores, upon which the incense will be burnt. Tanakama holds you don't need a lottery for the person who will bring the fire pan in. He was either standing to the right of the winner of the 3rd lottery, or the winner of the 3rd lottery selected him. Okay. Those are the 4 lotteries in the Beis Hamikdash Shehibana B'Meira B'Yameinu.